A baby is born. The doctor holds it up, and before it does anything else, before it opens its eyes, before it takes a real breath, it cries. You've seen this 100 times in movies. You probably did it yourself the day you were born. And you'll do it again, hundreds more times before you die. But here's something almost no one thinks about. You are the only animal on this planet that does this. Not the only mammal, not the only primate, the only animal. Out of roughly 8.7 million species on Earth, exactly one of them produces tears when it feels something. And you're it. Dogs don't cry. Cats don't cry. Elephants, which we sometimes say cry, don't actually produce emotional tears. Chimpanzees, who share 98% of your DNA, can scream, whimper, and grieve, but their eyes stay dry. So what happened to us? Why did evolution single out one species, give it the ability to leak salt water from its face when it's sad, and then make that behavior universal across every culture on Earth? Let's get into it. First, you need to understand that there are 3 different kinds of tears, and only one of them is the mystery. The first kind is called basal tears. These are the ones constantly coating your eyes right now to keep them moist. Every animal with eyes has these. Nothing special. The second kind is reflex tears. These are what happen when you chop an onion or get dust in your eye. Your body flushes the irritant out. Again, common across most mammals. The third kind is emotional tears. The ones that come when your dog dies, when you watch a movie, when you're so happy you can't speak, when you're so angry you can't think. These tears are completely unique to humans. And here's the strange part. Emotional tears are chemically different from the other two. In 1981, a biochemist named William Frey did something nobody had thought to do before. He collected tears from people watching sad movies, and then collected tears from people who had just chopped onions. He analyzed both. The emotional tears contained higher levels of stress hormones, which your body releases when you're under emotional pressure. Reflex tears didn't have it. Basal tears didn't have it. Only the sad ones. Which means, when you cry from emotion, your body is literally flushing chemical stress out of your system. Crying isn't just a feeling, it's a biological detox. But that still doesn't answer the bigger question. Why did this evolve in only one species? To understand that, you have to go back to what made humans different in the first place. Around 2 million years ago, our ancestors started doing something no other animal does. They started living in highly cooperative groups, where survival depended not on physical strength, but on social bonds. You couldn't outrun a leopard. You couldn't outfight a hyena. The only way you stayed alive was if the people around you cared whether you lived or died. And that changed everything about how we communicate. Most animals communicate threat. A dog growls, a cat hisses, a gorilla pounds its chest. These signals say, "Stay back, I'm dangerous." Humans evolved the opposite. We evolved signals that say, "Come closer, I need you." Crying is the most powerful one we have. Think about what tears actually do. They blur your vision. They make it harder to see, harder to fight, harder to defend yourself. From a survival standpoint, this is insane. Why would evolution give you a response that makes you more vulnerable, exactly when you're already in distress? The answer is, that vulnerability is the point. When you cry, you're broadcasting something no animal in the wild can afford to broadcast. You're saying, "I am not a threat. I cannot defend myself right now. I need help." And in a species where survival depends on the group, that signal triggers something powerful in the people around you. It triggers care. In 2011, researchers in Israel ran a study that proved this. They had men smell tears that had been collected from women watching sad films. The men didn't know what they were smelling. They were just told it was a liquid. But after smelling the tears, their testosterone levels dropped measurably. Their aggression went down. Their empathy went up. The tears were communicating, even without anyone seeing them being cried. That's how deep this goes. Human crying didn't just evolve as a visual signal. It evolved as a chemical one. Your tears actually change the behavior of the people around you on a hormonal level. Nothing else on Earth does this. But there's another piece. and it's the most overlooked. Babies. A human baby is the most helpless newborn of any large mammal on the planet. A baby giraffe walks within an hour of birth. A baby horse can run within a day. A baby human can't even hold its own head up for 3 months. It can't feed itself for years. It can't survive without constant attention. And it has one tool to make sure it gets that attention: crying. Human babies cry more, louder, and for longer than any other primate infant. They cry when they're hungry, cold, scared, lonely, or tired. They cry for hours sometimes, for reasons no parent can figure out. And the sound of a crying baby triggers immediate, almost uncontrollable distress in nearby adults. It's the most attention-grabbing sound in the human auditory range. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature. A baby that didn't cry would have died in the ancient world, forgotten in the grass, left behind during a migration, overlooked while the mother gathered food. The babies who survived were the ones loud enough to demand constant attention, and over hundreds of thousands of generations, that wiring stayed.
You learned to cry before you learned anything else. It was your first language. And even as an adult, when words fail you, when grief or joy or rage is too big to speak, you go back to it, the oldest language you ever knew. So here's what crying actually is. It's a 2-million-year-old social contract written into your biology. A signal that says, I am one of you. I am not okay. I need you to see me. It's the reason your friend hugs you when you break down. The reason a stranger feels something watching another stranger cry on the subway. The reason you can't explain why a movie made you sob when nothing actually happened to you. You're responding to a code your species has been running since before we built our first tools. No other animal needed to evolve this, because no other animal built a world where being vulnerable in front of each other, that kept us alive. We did. And the proof runs down your face. Every time you let yourself feel something too big to hold in. You are the only creature on Earth that cries. Because you are the only creature on Earth that survived by needing each other this much.